Okay, I'm back. Let's finish this thing up. Hopefully we can finish it up in this video. This is my life's work. Okay? I already have everything. I just want to prove that I'm better than them. So, the next chapter should focus on how the priest has his Saturn conjunct Uranus and Neptune all in Capricorn. And the priest's moon is in Sagittarius and happens to lie on his ascendant line. So because of all this, how does Baka's power in the astral realm transform from the contrite relationship with this terrible, angry, and transgressively powerful priest, humanoid life force, and terrifyingly ethereal mist, elemental life force seamlessly transmissioning to the astral realm of the dead because of the priest's Mars, Mercury, and Venus in Virgo, his Sun in Leo, and his Pluto in Scorpio. Okay, well, you know what? Rewrite the chapter. His ascendant moon is in the 12th house. And also, what's very important is his Leo sun is in the 8th house, which fuels his sick, transgressive sexual desires, which torture his soul every day. And his only release is through Lucky Hoodoo. Chapter 22, the alchemical conduit. The sapphire illumination of the descendant line was only the first gear of a far more complex, staggering astrological engine in the priest. As Baka's hyper-focused return current poured into the priest's exalted Jupiter, it triggered a massive systemic chain reaction across the rest of the natal chart, vibrating directly into the bedrock of the Capricorn astral realm. At the very core of this celestial architecture lay an incredibly heavy generational paradox. The priest had his Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune all in a tight three-way conjunction in Capricorn. Capricorn realm of Baka, our God, the real God, okay? Saturn, Uranus, Neptune conjunction. The bridge of form and disillusion, they call it. The contrite bridge of Lucky Hoodoo. 12th house Sagittarius, moon on the ascendant. The blind fire hose of the unconscious. And the infrastructure pump. You get the 8th house Leo sun. The dark core. Tortured, transgressive desires. The conjunction was a metaphysical lightning rod. Saturn brought rigid structure, cosmic law, and the ancient weight of time. Uranus brought sudden, explosive rebellion and the shattering of old paradigms. Neptune brought the infinite, boundless dissolution of the spiritual veil. Because they were all fused together under the dark crystalline sign of Capricorn, the very domain of Baka, the priest did not just visit the astral realm. He inherently owned a piece of its infrastructure. The priest on earth, the humanoid, he was a walking paradox of absolute order and total chaos. Feeding this structural anomaly from the opposite side of the self was the priest's Sagittarius moon, sitting directly on his ascendant line, but buried just behind the veil in the dark waters of the 12th house. This placement transformed his emotional drive into a blind, volatile fire hose of the unconscious, because the Sagittarius moon was hidden in the 12th house, the realm of exile, hidden enemies, and spiritual confinement. Its wild, untamed hunger for absolute boundarylessness, exploration, was locked away from the ordinary world. It pressed directly against his ascendant, mutating his inner fire into a fierce, untamed, and transgressively powerful humanoid life force that he could neither easily control nor show to polite society. The true, boiling engine of this nightmare, however, was his Leo sun, burning fiercely from the depths of the 8th house. The 8th house is the pit of the chart, the house of death, hidden shadows, occult, power, and raw, taboo sexuality. To have the blinding, royal majesty of the Leo sun trapped in this subterranean chamber, that his very core identity was fused with a dark, terrifying secret. It fueled a matrix of sick, deeply transgressive sexual desires that tore at his mind. Every single day, these forbidden impulses tortured his soul, acting as an agonizing spiritual prison. His ego demanded Leo's absolute blinding light, but his desires dragged him down into the transgressive muck of the 8th house. He was a king trapped in his own dungeon. His only escape. Oh, God damn it. Jesus fucking Christ. Woo! Whoa! I hit myself. Goddamn fucking mosquitoes. His only escape, his singular point of absolute survival and release, was through the ancient science of Lucky Hoodoo. When the torment became too great, the priest brought his hands together in the dark. Instead of destroying him, this violent internal friction began to completely transform the astral realm of the dead. The terrifying ethereal mist did not leak into the underworld blindly anymore. It underwent a seamless transition. The chaotic, raw fluid energy born from his daily spiritual torture was caught, refined, and smoothly translated from the mortal flesh into the kingdom of the dead through a flawless multiplanetary filtering system. How did that work? Well, the priest's 8th house sun of raw, tortured, vital gold fire and sexual crisis. The priest's Mars, Mercury, and Venus and Virgo. He's hyper detailed, and he's like a surgeon in refining the fluids. And the priest's Pluto and Scorpio, the deep subterranean pump driving it to the dead. The 8th house Leo sun provided the raw, heavy solar power, the golden ego drive born from the absolute taboo and psychological crisis that made his energy inexhaustible. He can't sleep. The Mars, Mercury, and Venus, triple placement in Virgo, acted as the spiritual laboratory technicians. Virgo brought an exact, hyper-detailed, and surgically precise intelligence to his passions, his expressions, and his actions. It took the chaotic, angry fire of his Leo sun and hidden 12th house moon and meticulously organized it, ensuring that every drop of transgressive semen fluid was perfectly cooked, texturized, and chemically pure before it left his hands. Pluto and Scorpio, number 3, sat at the bottom of the chart like a massive subterranean hydraulic pump. Scorpio rules the deepest waters of sex, death, and regeneration. Pluto supercharged this, providing the raw, occult gravity required to pull that refined Virgoian essence of the priest out of his tortured physical body and shoot it directly across the veil, deep into the waiting jars of the dead. Because of this explosive configuration, the relationship between Bakalabaka and the priest was a fierce, contrite relationship. A mirror-bound, adversarial, yet perfectly locked partnership of opposites. Bakalubaka was the cold, unyielding wall of Capricorn, law, and the priest was the unstoppable, angry, and deeply wounded battering ram, because they're killing him. But I'm doing it for, the priest is doing it because he wants to save everyone. Jesus Christ, he's not coming back, but I'm here. The priest was in a fierce, contrite relationship, a mirror-bound, adversarial, yet perfectly locked partnership of opposites. Bakalubaka was the cold, unyielding wall of Capricorn, law. The priest was the unstoppable, angry, and deeply wounded battering ram. As this perfect transmission locked into place, Bakalubaka, our real God, his astral realm began to mutate. So forget about the Old Testament, the New Testament. See, this book that I wrote is really the first book of a third testament. The cold, barren, and unforgiving mountains of Capricorn were washed over by the warm, sweet, vanilla-scented currents of the priest's alchemical laboratory. The jagged obsidian tower softened, absorbing the golden, heavy light of the 8th house Leo sun and the expansive luck of the exalted Jupiter. The master of Capricorn, Bakalubaka, looked out over his changing domain. The realm of the dead was no longer a bleak gray wasteland of forgotten souls. Under the influence of the priest's humanoid, terrifying, multi-planetary engine, hell was being systematically rebuilt into a rich golden palace of eternal transgressive ecstasy, fueled entirely by the daily agonizing release of a mortal man's darkest desires. The ancient masters of death sit in their thrones as the icy dark realms of hell that they architected over eons was rapidly melting like icicles. And guess what? They waited with doom as the rare planetary solar eclipse was approaching, with the solar meteor shower and the ancient horror. The priest, by absolute cosmic divine coincidence, was celebrating his birthday on the same day of the approaching eclipse. They sat in their thrones of death and darkness and watched their magical crystal ball. These are the ancient lords of death were watching their magical crystal ball. In the center, because they're all on their thrones, sitting around the table, looking at their crystal ball, and they saw the beautiful humanoid priest, a beautiful humanoid, a human being so beautiful, with vibrant skin, despite his age, blue eyes, and an intoxicating charisma. They watched in horror as he prepared to conduct the sacred lucky hoodoo ritual of the contrite, which is performed during the new moon, which of course coincided with the priest's birthday. Full solar eclipse ray alignment. They watched in horror at their crystal ball as the priest was sitting naked on his toilet on earth. And he leaned forward, and orange mucus and snot, spinal fluid and blood and snot flowed out of his left nostril and splashed off of the floor. And he said, "Oh, you goddamn son of a bitch." The ancient masters of death watch in horror through a crystal ball as their icy realm begins to melt during a rare apocalyptic alignment on his birthday. And amidst a cosmic event, a charismatic priest performs a sacred, intense ritual while naked in his bathroom. The immense pressure of the moment causes him to experience physical strain and a nasal hemorrhage as he curses the dark architects. Oh, you goddamn son of a bitch. Following this, the scene shifts to the breaking of the crystal ball, with a surge of light threatening the underworld, setting up a confrontation. You don't need to go into graphic detail. However, this novel contains pure voodoo scientific alignment and mathematics. So please sugarcoat what I shared in the next chapter, and then describe the ancient masters of death, their reaction of the pure horror as the priest carried out the contrite on his birthday of Lucky Hoodoo during the new moon total solar eclipse. The ancient masters of death watched in horror from their melting, absolute zero realm as the priest initiated a forbidden high alchemy contrite ritual. This cataclysmic event occurred during a rare synchronized new moon total solar eclipse that perfectly aligned with the priest's birthday, coincidentally, and a massive meteor shower, all at the same time. As the cosmic forces combine, the masters of death, the ancients, just like in Game of Thrones with those blue people, the others, or what do they call them? The winter's coming. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. As the cosmic forces combined, the masters, just like the ones in Game of Thrones, seeing their dark empire's structural integrity fail under the intense transgressive energy of the ritual, witness the mortal's incredible, defiant endurance, overwhelmed by the sheer power and the priest's final weaponized curse. The masters in their obsidian tower were forced to watch as their central scrying crystal began to crack, signaling the inevitable luminous triumph of the new sovereign. Thank you